Good evening, everybody. It's Friday night. It is time for some Bulletproof Book Club. Vishal, my man, is in the house straight away. I've not got a coffee tonight. I've got a green tea. I thought I'd try and be healthy. Archie Purnell is in the house. Massive congratulations to Archie. We'll talk about that in a minute. Nina's here. I think I saw someone beginning with E come in before that. Hello to you. If you're new, then please type new. Let us know where you're watching from. Laura's here. Laura, great to see you. If you're watching this on the replay as well, by the way, guys, I appreciate you. Thank you so much for turning up. You won't be able to comment during this, but you can show your appreciation and digital applause by tapping your screen, giving us some hearts. It's always nice to see people hearting it up. Hey Ross, how you well? I think you mean hope you well. I love the way people's iPhones. What did I send someone the other day? I sent something completely, a proper predicted text fail that's meant something completely different to actually what I'd meant to say. It's always funny when that happens. Eddie is here. Bloody iPhone, says Archie. Don't worry, Archie, I do it all the time, mate. I'm good though. I'm really good. Yeah, everybody. Well, let's give Archie some hearts, people. Barbie was here. Archie came on a voiceover workshop. For a voiceover, I run a voiceover company called VOfocus.com. If you're into voiceover in the UK, then check it out. Archie came on that a couple of weeks ago, finished his course, landed his first professional voiceover job, and smashed it. Yeah, he got a job for ITV today. Hey up, lad, Eddie. Who's that? Eddie Edwards. How are we doing? So yeah, well done Archie for that. So whilst everybody's kind of getting themselves on, this is the second book we're looking at in the Bulletproof Book Club. So last book club was all about this one, Greg McKeown's Essentialism. We're done with that. If you want to watch the previous replays, all about becoming an essentialist and basically just prioritising the most important thing in your life and making a load of headway on it, as opposed to making millimetres of progress on like 10 things you're trying to achieve all at once, get Greg's book. It's awesome. This week and next week, we're going to be looking at this. Edwards isn't my surname. Eddie Edward for F-book, Facebook. Eddie, do I recognise you, Eddie? I don't know if I recognise your profile picture there. It's so small on my phone though, but let me know where you're from if I know you. Thanks Ross, thanks everybody. VOfocus played a huge part. Awesome, guys. If you want to get into voiceover, it's a big part of my life. Check out VOfocus.com and I will personally help you go for it and hopefully start booking jobs for ITV like Archie just seemed to have smashed out the park straight away 2 weeks after he did the workshop. Tonight, guys, we're looking at this book. It's a wicked book. Honestly, it's so good. I read it about a year ago. No, not even that, actually. More recent than that. And it changed a lot about the way I approach my life and has made a big impact in a very positive way. It's by a lady, Dr. Carol S. Dweck. You can get it on Amazon. If you're watching this replay on actonthis.tv, which is the website that I run, or if you want to watch any replays, go to actonthis.tv, click on Periscope. There'll be a link on the page to this book straight to Amazon. I'm with Noel Gallagher at the Albert Hall. Are you actually with Noel, Eddie, or are you just watching Noel? If you're with Noel, get Noel on as well. I'm a massive fan of Noel. I've been to see Noel a few times in concert, which is good. So, yeah, mindset, how you can fulfill your potential, business, parenting, school, relationships, literally every area of your life, how mindset can affect it. And Carol looks at two areas of mindset that I'm going to introduce you guys to tonight. I've been looking at bits to read you guys. I've been highlighting quite a lot because there's some awesome stuff in here, so I hope you can stay on this scope for a few minutes. It's going to maybe be like 25 minutes, half an hour, but I assure you it's going to be a rock and roll Friday night if you do. Give me some hearts or give me some yeses if you want to hang out for half an hour. Kim's in the house. Kim, great to see you on the scope. And also, just let me know what you've been doing. I mean, it's Friday night. We've got a bit of time. We can make this just a little bit more social than normal as well. Bit of both. His cousin takes My Bloods at the Christie's. There we go. Just mixing it up there. Just rubbing shoulders with the Gallaghers. Well, I hope you're having a wicked time, Eddie Edwards. Edwards isn't your surname. You said that, Eddie. I hope you're having a good time. If you see Noel, say hello. You won't have a clue who I am. Never met him before in my life. Wild Friday, says Laura. Yeah, let me know what you've been doing. Let me know if you have been using any of the stuff we've been talking about on these previous Periscopes to help you in your work, you know, or play, or, you know, your career, just whatever. Always glad to be here. What's the crack? The crack is, Kim, all about Carol Dweck's mindset tonight. Headspace, Vishal. So Headspace was the meditation app that I was talking to people about the other night. Day 2 Stick with it, Michelle. Honestly, it will change you. It will change you and you'll love it. You'll feel so much calmer if you just do that 10 minutes of headspace a day. And if you can stick to doing the 10 days consecutively in the Take 10 program that Headspace do, you don't have to. You know, if you miss a day, don't feel guilty about it. But if you can do it consecutively, it'll have a big impact. It'll start becoming a positive habit of yours. You're gonna have to stick with it longer than the 10 days because we've done positive habits on the previous scopes, but stick with it and it will become a positive habit, so you're gonna miss it if you don't do it. I've been cleaning all day and doing meditation on day 3. Great stuff, Kim. It was on the 28th of the 3rd, 15th, Teenage Cancer Trust. Awesome. So that's when, that was when what was, Eddie? When you were seeing Noel? Well, I thought it was tonight. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I was getting it all mixed up. Right, so we're going to look at mindsets, guys, and I'm going to read you in my best Jackanory voice some introductions to this book. Like I say, you don't have to buy this book if you want to take part in these Bulletproof book clubs, because I'm going to read you it. I'm going to read you parts. Not tonight, Eddie. Okay, cool. So I'm going to read you parts of this book, so you don't have to get it. But if you do like what you hear, then I would recommend seriously you get it. It says on the back of the book it's $10.99. I'm sure on Amazon I didn't pay that. I think I paid probably about £8 for it. You can always get them cheaper on Amazon. Don't get them from the shops. If you go to Waterstones, you'll pay full price. Get them from Amazon. Generally save a bundle. But like I say, there'll be a link on the replay video of this to actually take you to Amazon to get it. So I'm going to read you a little bit of an insight into 2 types of mindsets tonight. Yes, I am plugged in, Kim. Thank you for reminding me. Kim always reminds me to plug the charger into my phone. I did only have 4% on my phone when I started this, so I did plug it in. But always remind me, Kim, because sometimes, you know, I may still be prone to forget. So this is written in the first person as well. So when I start saying when I was a young researcher, I don't mean me. This is Carol's words, okay? But let's have a little look and we'll stop and we'll go through bits, because there's quite a few things I want you to comment on and tell me what your experiences are. So it says, when I was a young researcher just starting out, something happened that changed my life. I was obsessed with understanding how people cope with failures, and I decided to study it by watching how students grapple with hard problems. So I brought children one at a time into a room in their school, made them comfortable, and then I gave them a series of puzzles to solve. The first ones were fairly easy, but the next ones were hard. As the students grunted, perspired and toiled, I watched their strategies and probed what they were thinking and feeling. I expected differences among children in how they coped with the difficulty, but I saw something I never expected. So Carol, what did you see? Well, confronted with the hard puzzles, one 10-year-old boy pulled his chair up, rubbed his hands together, smacked his lips and cried out, "I love a challenge." Another, sweating away on the puzzles, looked up with a pleased expression and said with authority, "You know, I was hoping this would be informative." I mean, come on, what kids are these? But this was surprising to Carol. So she's thinking, what's wrong with them, I wondered. I always thought you coped with failure, or you didn't cope with failure. I never thought anyone loved failure. Were these alien children, or were they onto something? Everyone has a role model, someone who pointed the way at a critical moment in their lives. These children were my role models. They obviously knew something I didn't, and I was determined to figure it out, to understand the kind of mindset that could turn a failure into a gift. Now, we've looked at a few previous scopes about turning tragic events in our past and looking at those events as gifts, as what they've given to us, as opposed to what they've taken away. But this is actively looking at challenges as gifts and almost relishing the thought that you could fail, I guess, but that's going to be okay. So let's carry on. She says, what did they know? They knew that human qualities such as intellectual skills could be cultivated through effort. And that's what they were doing, getting smarter. Not only weren't they discouraged by failure, they didn't even think they were failing. They thought they were learning. I, on the other hand, thought human qualities were carved in stone. You were smart or you weren't, and failure meant you weren't. It was that simple. If you could arrange successes and avoid failures at all costs, you could stay smart. Struggles, mistakes, perseverances were just not part of that picture. Whether human qualities are things that can be cultivated or things that are carved in stone is an old issue. What these beliefs mean for you is a new one. What are the consequences of thinking that your intelligence or personality is something you can develop as opposed to something that is fixed, a deep-seated trait? Let's first look at the age-old, fiercely waged debate about human nature and then return to the question of what these beliefs mean for you. So basically, these kids, for those who are just joining, we're reading a bit of Carol Dweck's Mindset. It's an awesome book, and we're just literally looking at the introduction to the two types of mindset that Carol introduces you. We're not really mentioning them exactly yet, but we just read about Carol testing children with really hard tasks, and actually being really surprised when a couple of the kids actually relished the fact that it was hard. They were hoping it was going to be difficult, and she was like, what? I thought, like, you know, kids would like really fear failure, or they don't want to fear failure, you know, they don't want to have failure. Of course, it's something that's negative. Is that something that you can kind of relate to, guys? Give me some yeses or some hearts if you kind of, you know, you kind of relate to that. When you were at school, how did you view failure? Was a hard test something you relished, or was it something that you kind of didn't want to do? Because I know I particularly wasn't like well chuffed if a test was hard. If I got some test questions that came up that I'd actually really studied and practiced, I was like, yes, this is it, this is amazing, this is what a test should be. Not something that would totally challenge me and, you know, necessarily throw me in the exam room. It says there's been here, it says through the ages, there's been a lot of differences in the way that people kind of approach mindset. And there's been people who have studied like physical differences, literally, in terms of people's heads. Yeah, I used to love a good challenge, but I became more disheartened the older I got. Okay, well, we're going to hopefully change that. So through the ages, there's alleged physical differences have included bumps on the skull. So people even try and measure people's intelligence through things called phrenology, where they measure, like, you know, they actually kind of feel like the makeup of your skull. Physical differences have included bumps on the skull, phrenology, the size and shape of the skull, craniology. And today, obviously, we look at genes. So previously, like a long time ago, they would look at the physical things and go, what is it that makes kids smart and what makes kids not very smart? It has to be like a physical difference. Let's look at their skulls, or we'll look at the shape of their heads and that kind of thing. And now we have genes. So, for instance, who believes, say like, you know, you've got a very talented footballer, David Beckham, yeah? Does it mean because he passes his genes on to, Chris has gap genes, nice. Does that mean suddenly Brooklyn Beckham or Cruz Beckham are going to be great footballers? Let me know what you think about that. Can genes give you a predisposition to being talented at something? What do you think? Or is that something society makes up and lies to us about and makes us feel that, you know, if our parents weren't good at something, then we can't be good at it either? I want to know what people's mindsets are about that. So Vishal says no. I don't agree with it either. There's a lot of things that I surpass my parents at, that, you know, they weren't naturally gifted at, but because I have worked and toiled and, you know, practiced that I you know, have a unique ability at that they didn't, and equally they do as well. So Gemma doesn't agree with that. Nature versus nurture, it's both. So this is a whole debate, isn't it? It's what we're looking at. Are you intelligent because of nature, or are you intelligent and, you know, do you have a lot of potential because of nurture? I think they have access to better training, but not necessarily talent. Yeah, exactly. I guess if your dad's David Beckham, you probably do have access to some of the best training in the world. Well, there's a guy called Alfred Binet, right? He's the inventor of the IQ test. Now, you would think a guy like that, who literally measures IQ, actually thinks in society, you would think someone who measures IQ would have the impression that actually it is measurable, it's fixed. If you've got an IQ of 80 or an IQ of 120 or whatever, that's your IQ and that's all you're going to be. It was actually quite the opposite. This guy invented this test for a very different reason. He designed the test to identify children who were not profiting from the Paris public schools, okay, so that new educational programs could be designed to get them back on track. Okay, he wrote a book called Modern Ideas About Children. This is a quote from it. He says, "A few modern philosophers assert that an individual's intelligence is a fixed quantity, a quantity which cannot be increased. We must protest and react against this brutal pessimism. With practice, training, and above all, method, we manage to increase our attention, our memory, our judgment, and literally to become more intelligent than we were before." So give me some hearts and if you agree with that. Okay, it isn't fixed. It is something that, you know, you can improve on, you can become better on, you're not kind of stuck with. This is people who have limited beliefs that we've talked about in so many scopes, who believe their IQ, their intelligence, their talents, you know, everything about themselves, their body, you know, is fixed. Oh, I'm big boned, I was born that way, I've always been heavy. You know, is it fixed or can it be changed? I personally think it can be changed. So it says, what does all this mean for you and the two mindsets? So I'm going to introduce you to the two mindsets behind these two views now. It's one thing to have pundits spouting their opinions about scientific issues. It's another thing to understand how these views apply to you. For 20 years, my research has shown that the view you adopt for yourself profoundly affects the way you lead your life. So Kim says anything can get better with practice. It can determine whether you become the person you want to be and whether you accomplish the things you value. How does this happen? How can a simple belief have the power to transform your psychology and, as a result, your life? Kids are sometimes held back due to lack of self-esteem. Massively. You know what? And those kids become adults and they're still held back because of lack of self-esteem. Believing that your qualities are carved in stone, the fixed mindset. So this is mindset number one, okay? The fixed mindset creates an urgency to prove yourself over and over. If you have only a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well then you'd better prove that you have a healthy dose of them. It simply wouldn't do to look or feel deficient in these most basic characteristics. So, you know, the people with a fixed mindset, you know, for them, in their head, they better have a great intelligence, a great personality, all this stuff, big boned or too much tiger bread. I've been known to say that. Cut out the tiger bread, Archie. There's no such thing as big bone. So they've got this fixed mindset, yeah, where they think that that's it, whatever they have, and they need to prove themselves over and over again. Teachers didn't help, especially my maths one. I'm with you on that. I didn't have particularly great maths. I had a great maths teacher. I had some good ones actually over the years, but there was one particularly, it was very black or white with them. So some of us are trained in this mindset from an early age. Even as a child, I was focused on being smart. The fixed mindset was really stamped in by Mrs. Wilson, my 6th grade teacher, it says here. Teachers make a huge difference. Well, let's hear about Mrs. Wilson, Chris. Mrs. Wilson was Carol Dweck's 6th grade teacher. Unlike Alfred Binet, she believed that people's IQ scores told the whole story of who they were. We were seated around the room in IQ order, and only the highest IQ students could be trusted to carry the flag, clap the erasers, or take a note to the principal. Who was sat at school, primary school or secondary school, in groups? This did my head in, right? I was fortunate, I was quite academically bright, so I was always in a pretty good group, but we would be sat on tables that might be called the red table, the blue table, the green table, the yellow table, but really they were the smart kids, the less smart kids, the even less smart kids, and the troublesome kids. Give me some hearts if that was you and you were sat in those groups as well, because how divisive did you find that at school? Because the kids who weren't as academically bright weren't inspired by the kids on the good table, they were intimidated by them. Had they been mixed up and had been held accountable to them, like we talked about accountability the other night, where we can hold each other accountable for our progress and our results, do you not think that would make a better school system, where we mix up the kids who are less bright with the ones who are bright and let them coach them? Yep, used to really wind me up as well, so Kim got that as well. We did in both my schools, and my school didn't have sets as such. I've even heard, you know, some of my friends went to school where they would be in set 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 6. So those kids in set 1 felt great about themselves. Those kids in set 6 felt dreadful. They do peer mentoring these days. Awesome, Laura, that's good. That's how bullying can start. It's so silly. I think it's mental. I get it, because I think politicians and stuff go, okay, well, if we put the less bright kids with the academically bright kids, maybe it's going to hold back the bright kids, but I don't think it would. I think it would more inspire them to go, well, I've been put in a bit of responsibility to coach people who are less, you know, less bright than me. I'm going to help them out. I was always more creative than academic, but was never encouraged. It's just a really interesting, I think, a very old-fashioned way to do it, you know, literally sitting people around the room in IQ order. So let's carry on. She says, aside from the daily stomachache she provoked with her judgmental stance, she was creating a mindset in which everyone in the class had one consuming goal: to look smart, don't look dumb. Who cared about or enjoyed learning when our whole being was at stake every time she gave us a test or called on us in class? So who struggled maybe with reading at school, and every time they were called out to read from a book or something like that, they dreaded it and they sit at the back of the room, so they didn't, so, you know, maybe people had dyslexia and didn't, you know, the boss always hung out together. Needless to say, I was with the naughty ones. Nina was with the naughty ones. That's a surprise. I wasn't kidding, Nina. But yeah, so, you know, you had dyslexia or whatever, you were scared to read out, you know, that's kind of like just a test every time you're asked to do it. Why not kind of encourage you, put you with, you know, mentor you with kids who are better at that than you, you know, and kind of get everybody to improve on it, as opposed to going, you either look smart or you fail, learning isn't fun. That was me, says Archie. Yeah, absolutely. I had a few kids in my class who were like that, and they dreaded it, you know, they absolutely dreaded it. And so it says, I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal. We had to read out test scores for mental maths. I always get 2 out of 10. Oh, see, that's dreadful. I don't mean your score, I mean having to read it out. I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves in the classroom, in their careers and in their relationships. Every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality or character. Every situation is evaluated. I was bad at maths and my mum struggled to help me. She went to get help from my teacher to help her. Well, there you go, yeah, I mean, you know, but asking for help's good. At least that's a good thinking. You know, actually admitting that you can't help and go to get help from someone else is a really positive step. So it says, every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? But doesn't our society value intelligence, personality and character? Understand the teacher announced this to my class. Oh, see, that's not great either. Ask for help though, Archie says. It is definitely, honestly, that's a really positive thing to do. So yeah, so rather than just look at this academic stuff, doesn't our society value intelligence, personality and character? Isn't it normal to want these traits? Well, yeah, it is. But there's also another mindset in which these traits are not simply a hand you're dealt and have to live with. Always trying to convince yourself and others that you have a royal flush when you're secretly worried it's a pair of tens. I got my GCSE maths in my 30s. Go you! That's awesome. So yeah, so you know, so there's another mindset that looks at this as going, well, you know what, I don't have to prove myself, I don't have to worry about failure, I don't have to worry about what my IQ is now because I'm going to get better. You know, you don't have to convince yourself, like it says, you're holding a royal flush when really you're only holding a pair of tens. In this mindset, the hand you're dealt is just the starting point for development. That's so important. This growth mindset, that's the second one. So we've got a fixed mindset, now we've got a growth mindset. This growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things you can cultivate through your efforts. Although people may differ in every which way, in their initial talents and aptitudes, interests or temperaments, everyone can change and grow through application and experience. So if you're with me and you think you can grow through application and experience, heart it up, because I do. I'm certainly of a growth mindset. You do not have, you know, fixed mindsets are so limiting. It's insane. Do people with this mindset believe that anyone can be anything, that anyone with proper motivation or education can become Einstein or Beethoven? No, but they believe that a person's true potential is unknown and unknowable, that it's impossible to foresee what can be accomplished with years of passion, toil and training. So I say quite often, you know, that a human being's potential is limitless, which I do think it is, but obviously there's going to be reasons, you know, there's going to be caps on that. So I'm not going to be a Premiership footballer right now, you know, at 33. I'm not going to be a racing driver because I've got an eye condition, which means, you know, I don't have peripheral vision. So I'm not going to be a great racing driver because I'll probably crash. I can't drive legally, so that would probably be a bad profession with me. But I think that's a really nice way to look at it. A person's potential is unknown, so it's unknowable. You know, we can't put a limit on it. We can't set a ceiling on it before that person has gone out and spent those years of, you know, passion, toil and training. So that's a really nice way that Carol puts it, that your potential is unknowable. And we look a lot in potential in my upcoming mindset course, Bulletproof Actor, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So this is great. Did you know that Darwin and Tolstoy were considered ordinary children? That Ben Hogan, one of the greatest golfers of all time, was completely uncoordinated and graceless as a child? That the photographer Cindy Sherman, who has been on virtually every list of the most important artists of the 20th century, failed her first photography course? That Geraldine Page, one of our greatest actresses, was advised to give up for lack of talent? How many actors have you heard that about? People going, oh, you're terrible, you should give up, and they persevere and persevere, and they go on to get, you know, to be prepared to meet that opportunity. You know, it's not right place, right time, it's opportunity meets preparedness, and they smash it, you know, and they become massive. You know, how many times have you heard of failure? I put on actonthis.tv, if you just search for rejection in the search app for TV, Act on This, sorry, not Act TV, it's an acting course, actonthis.tv, you can read rejection letters to some of the most successful people in the world when they first started off. You know, their limits, their potential certainly wasn't of a fixed mindset. Surname Jones told me on Saran Jones told me on a workshop she was told to stop. Wow, Saran Jones, there you go. Well, now she's doing, I think, the drama. What does she do? She's just done a drama at the moment. I can't remember the name of it. It's just been named the biggest drama of 2015 so far in viewers. Maggie Smith was told not to bother. Well, there you go. She's still cracking on she must be 80 now. So you can see how the belief that cherished qualities can be developed creates a passion for learning. And this is what I want you guys to kind of know. Dr. Foster, that's it. I want you guys to kind of appreciate this and really, you know, convince yourself of. I know a lot of the things we're talking about on these scopes, you'll get kind of fired up with, and you might, you know, they're going to keep you, you know, keep you motivated for a couple of days. But I want you to really inhibit this particularly, you know, the belief that cherished qualities can be developed, and I want you guys to create a passion for learning. So you do read all of these books and stuff that I'm giving you. You know, my mind has expanded so much through books and through learning. I'm way better than I used to be in every area of my life because I've expanded, you know, through learning. I didn't have a fixed mindset. It's very much a growth mindset. Why waste time proving over and over how great you are when you could be getting better? Why hide deficiencies instead of overcoming them? Why look for friends or partners who will just shore up your self-esteem instead of ones who will also challenge you to grow? And why seek out the tried and true instead of experiences that will stretch you? The passion for stretching yourself and sticking to it, even or especially when it's not going well, is the hallmark of the growth mindset. This is the mindset that allows people to thrive during some of the most challenging times in their lives. So they're the two mindsets. So we've got the growth mindset, which is the one we want, and we've got the fixed mindset. It doesn't matter which one you are. If you're a fixed mindset, don't be so fixed that you think you can't have a growth mindset, okay? Because that just defeats the whole object. You can have a growth mindset, and I want you all to develop growth mindsets as we carry on doing these scopes and as our journey together for however long it lasts, you know. But I think that's interesting as well. We always talk about who you surround yourself with, you know, and rather than looking for people who are just going to kind of compliment you for what you already have, we want to find people who are going to challenge you and are going to kind of inspire you, hold you accountable, and who ultimately are kind of doing better than you, more successful than you right now, who are going to make you raise your game. If you hang around with 4 people who aren't doing as well as you, then, you know, you might raise them, but who's raising you up? There's nobody there. We said about that. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Jim Rohn said that. Awesome guy. Very, very true. So last couple of pages, I'm going to read you guys. It says, what does all this mean for you? Okay, the 2 mindsets. We've got which bit should I read you now? Okay, so these are so this is a little kind of test that Carol did to really kind of figure out the way people look at things. She says one day, okay, think about this, guys. Think about this as if I'm telling you this situation, this scenario that you're going through. Okay, one day you go to a class that is really important to you and that you like a lot. So say it's an acting class, or you know, or something like that, or take yourself back to when you were at school. Okay, the professor returns the midterm paper. This is midway through the course to the class. You got a C+. You're very disappointed. That evening on the way back to your home, you find that you've got a parking ticket as well. Being really frustrated, you call your best friend to share your experience, but are sort of brushed off. So you've not had a good day, guys. You've gone to a class you really like, you've got your midterm paper, and you've got a C+. On the way out of the class, you've got a parking ticket. You phone your friend to vent, and your friend goes, oh, I've not really got time to talk to you. Okay? Give me some ideas of how you would feel. Before I read you 2 approaches, how would you feel to that? So you've been to a class, you've had a midterm paper, you've got a mediocre result, you're not happy, you get a parking ticket on the way home, and you ring someone up to get some moral support and they brush you off. How would you feel with your current mindset? And don't tell me the answer you think I want to hear. How would you feel? Be honest, be genuine. We're all friends here. Pretty rubbish, Gemma would feel. I would feel pretty rubbish. Totally, you know, I would, it would take me a lot to look at what those situations have given me. Shit, says Archie. Definitely. You know, it's our go-to place. The negativity bias I always talk about in our brains, it's our go-to place. Pissed off and disheartened. You know, and that's a natural thing. We all have this negativity bias because nature has given it us. We needed it in the past. Our ancestors needed it in order to survive. They needed to look at the things that were bad, that could hurt them, so they could run away from them. Today, we're very lucky we no longer need it, but it's still with us. It's part of our DNA. It's part of the way our brain is wired naturally, and we need to rewire it. So the general consensus is people would feel pretty shit. Okay, well, let's have a look at the two ways Carol found people responded to this. Change the belief system, says Vishal. Exactly. So what would you think? What would you feel? What would you do? When I asked people with the fixed mindset, this is what they said. I'd feel like a reject. I'm a total failure. I'm an idiot. I'm a loser. I feel worthless and dumb. Everyone's better than me. I'm a slime. I'm a slime. We don't really use that in the UK, but someone would feel like they're a slime. In other words, they see what happened as a direct measure of their competence and worth. So they would blame themselves for everything in that situation. She says, excuse me, was there a death and destruction, or just a grade, a ticket, and a bad phone call? Are these just people with low self-esteem, or card-carrying pessimists? No. When they aren't coping with failure, they feel just as worthy and optimistic and bright and attractive as people with the growth mindset. So when things are going right for someone with a fixed mindset, they feel just as good as the person with a growth mindset. It's only when things start going wrong in your life that if you've got a fixed mindset, things are going to start going wrong for you. So how would they cope? She said they said to her, I wouldn't bother to put so much time and effort into doing well in anything. In other words, don't let anyone measure you again. I'd do nothing, I'd stay in bed, I'd get drunk, I'd eat, I'd yell at someone if I got the chance to, I'd eat chocolate, I'd listen to music and pout, I'd go into my closet and sit there, pick a fight with somebody, cry, break something. What is there to do? What is there to do? You know, when I wrote the vignette, so that's the situation she wrote, she said, I intentionally made the grade a C+ and not an E, not an F. It was a mid-term paper rather than a final, so it wasn't the end of year, it was only the middle of the term. It was a parking ticket and not a car wreck. They were sort of brushed off, not rejected outright. Nothing catastrophic or irreversible happened. From this raw material, the fixed mindset created the feeling of utter failure and paralysis. So nothing massive had happened, okay? When I gave the people with a growth mindset the same vignette, here's what they said. They'd think, I need to try harder in class, be more careful when parking the car, and wonder if my friend had a bad day too. The C+ would tell me that I'd have to work a lot harder in the class, but I have the rest of the semester to pull up my grade. There were many, many more like this, but I think you get the idea. Now, how would they cope directly? Well, they said, I'd start thinking about studying harder or studying in a different way for my next test in that class. I'd pay the ticket. I'd work things out with my best friend the next time we got to speak. I'd look at what was wrong on my exam, resolve to do better, pay my parking ticket and call a friend to tell her I was upset the day before. I'd work hard on my next paper, speak to the teacher, be more careful where I parked or contest the ticket and find out what's wrong with my friends. There's 3 different people saying what they would do. You don't have to have one mindset or the other to be upset. Who wouldn't be? Things like a poor grade or a rebuff from a friend or loved one, these are not fun events. No one was smacking their lips with relish. Yet those people with a growth mindset were not labelling themselves and throwing up their hands. Even though they felt distressed, they were ready to take the risks, confront the challenges, and keep working on them. So that's the 2 mindsets, guys. Try and recognize what mindset you would have by the way you would react to that. There's 2. We've got the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. When things are going right, they both work in the same way. When things are going wrong, the growth mindset looks at it as learning and as lessons and feedback and actually what they can do to progress. The growth mindset, the fixed mindset, looks at it as utter failure, takes it out on themselves and blames themselves for everything, you know, and then that completely halts their progress moving forward. So going into the weekend, it's Friday night now, I just want you to be aware of those 2 mindsets. And if you have challenges and things that crop up, just stop for a second and just think about how you want to react naturally. And if you want to react how someone with a fixed mindset would react, try and flip it. Let's try and reframe it and look at it as someone with a growth mindset would react. And this isn't something that you're just going to do overnight and it's just going to become completely, completely second nature to you. I think I'm borderline growth mindset, says Kim. This is something that you have to work on, like in a gym. You can't go just once and have big muscles and be really great shape. You have to work on this day in and day out for a while until it becomes your natural default mindset, so that you look at everything with a growth mindset. So, you know, when things aren't going well, you're still looking at the opportunities that you can create from it. So if you get it or got any feedback from that, let me know what you think. Let me know what mindset you think you might live in your default place. I definitely used to I would show traits of both. But I would still, like all human beings, tend to, when things went bad, default to the fixed mindset until I, became more aware, I guess, more self-aware, of what was going on, and I would consciously kind of flip that. So let me know what you think. I'm just going to ask you a couple of questions to finish off that will help you get really clear on what those 2 mindsets would do in certain situations. I like getting feedback or looking at situations and think, okay, that didn't work. How could it be done? Exactly, and I think there's a lot of actors on these scopes. And I think as actors, we often have a fixed mindset when it comes to auditions, and we leave the room and we just, if we don't get the job, we think we're terrible. Don't know how anyone can be an actor and be fixed mind. We'd give up at the first rejection. Well, yeah, absolutely, Nina, but I think people still can carry on with a fixed mindset. Sometimes my negativity gets the better of me. So what happens is, I told you about, you know, when I've been doing some more auditions today with the casting director in Manchester, and we've seen more people. We saw some people a few weeks ago, and I told you about a girl who will never know this, but she didn't get the role. She walked out the room and she was great. She was really, really good. She didn't get the role because she was too good looking. Okay, she's never going to know that, but she's just going to go home and she's going to think, I didn't get the role because I wasn't good enough. Oh, I'm terrible. Oh, this hasn't happened. Someone with a growth mindset would go away and go, okay, you know, what have I learned from that experience? How can I become better? What can I do next time? But I think a lot of actors can still get by with a fixed mindset, but they just live in a really dark place. They don't have any fulfillment in their lives because they blame themselves for every single failure, as opposed to, you know, going in the room, doing the job, walking out, forgetting about it. So I just want to have a look. So grow your mindset, okay, guys. So which mindset do you have? Answer these questions about intelligence. Read each statement, I'll read you them, and decide whether you mostly agree with it or disagree with it. So let me know if you agree or disagree with this. Your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much. So agree or disagree. Type agree or disagree if you agree with that, or disagree with it. Oh, green tea is not great, is it? It's not beautiful. It's not like coffee. So do you agree or disagree? Your intelligence is something very basic about you that you can't change very much. Agree or disagree? Disagree, disagree, disagree. Correct. Good, good, good. Excellent. Disagree, disagree, disagree. Awesome. Question number 2. You can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. Agree or disagree? You can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. No green tea is manky. I know. Try to be healthy. Too much coffee, too much syrup. Disagree? Excellent, Michelle. Anyone else disagree with that? You can learn new things, but you can't really change how intelligent you are. Disagree, Gemma. Disagree, Nina. Awesome. Discreet. Stephen's for another iPhone predicted text fail. I love it. Disagree. Okay. Next 2 questions. No matter how much intelligence you have, you can always change it quite a bit. So you can change it quite a bit. No matter what intelligence you've got, you can always change your intelligence quite a bit. Agree or disagree? Agree or disagree? Agree, Archie. Yeah, agree, agree. Agree, Nina. Awesome. Agree, Vishal. Last question. Agree, Kim. You can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Agree or disagree? You can always substantially change how intelligent you are. You know what? We could swap the word intelligent out for anything else. Swap it out for any other word as well. You know, you might want to swap it out for your acting ability, your singing ability, your plumbing ability, I don't know, your exercise, your physical ability. Yeah, just people are agreeing with that. So people are agreeing you can always substantially change how intelligent you are. Agree, says Archie. Awesome. So it says questions 1 and 2 are the fixed mindset questions. They're the ones you all disagreed to. Question 3 and 4 reflect the growth mindset. Which mindset did you agree with more? So you all agreed with the growth mindset more than the fixed mindset. So virtual fist bump to all you guys. You also have beliefs about other abilities. You could substitute the intelligence in there for artistic talent, sports ability, or business skill. Try it. So that's all I want to look at tonight, guys. I hope that has kind of, you know, cleared up for you the 2 types of mindsets that are out there. And it looks like you are all of a growth mindset or bordering on a growth mindset, which is awesome. And now you're aware of it, I hope you can cultivate that side of your mind and look at everything from a growth mindset perspective. Like I say, when things are going right, it doesn't matter which one you have. It's just the same. It's only when things are going wrong that you're going to need that growth mindset, and you're going to be able to grow through some of the most challenging times of your life. It's certainly been the case for me. When I have been challenged, really challenged, I have grown more in those situations than any other situation that I have found success at first time. Kim says you would agree with that. Definitely. Heart it up if you agree, and heart it up for the growth mindsets, everybody. Love this scope, says Archie. Also, well, I love it. It's great. It's really good, honestly, guys, and it's amazing to share. You know, some of these books have really changed my life and have made me very much who I am today. And it's nice to kind of go back through them. It's nice to remind myself as well, you know, because I read a lot and I listen to a lot of audiobooks and podcasts and stuff. And sometimes you can be a little bit of information overload, can't it? So it's nice to actually take a little bit of time out to you know, to remind myself of this stuff as well, because it's very easy for me to preach all this stuff, and then sometimes I'll catch myself out and I'll admit this, and then I'll go, wow, I've just spoken to these guys about that, and I'll see people taking action on this stuff, you know, and they'll be making massive progress, and I'll go, wow, I haven't taken action on that stuff this week, so I need to do it. So it's great that you guys are ended up kind of inadvertently helping me hold myself accountable for this stuff, so thank you, I appreciate you for that. So what I want to do you ever have negative emotions? Absolutely, Kim. Oh my God. Right, do you know what? I absolutely do. That, you know, I don't want anyone on any of these scopes to think that I sit up here in some kind of ivory tower going, right, kids, this is how you should rule your life. This is how you should, you know, decide to do this and do that and do that. I, absolutely, like any other human being, are completely fallible to having negative thoughts. The only difference between who I am today and who I was a few years ago is that I choose how to react to those negative thoughts. And I've developed, thank God, some, you know, hugely, hugely developed areas of my mindset and my personality now, after only years and years and years of studying this in real depth and practicing it every day, and, you know, checking in with myself if I am still practicing it and when I'm not getting myself back on track, that I now have a great command over my emotions, over my mindset, how I view stuff. I still get challenged every day by things that could be viewed negative. You know, we can't control the things that happen in our lives, but we absolutely can control how we react to them. And I choose to be positive and happy. I think as actors we have to be so tenacious. It's hard. It's so hard work to keep going, but we must. Absolutely, it is hard. But I assure you, if you keep on going and you keep on going with a growth mindset, if you have a fixed mindset when times are hard, you know what? It can be very, very difficult for you to, you know, for you to get anywhere. But if you have a growth mindset and you demand ultimately more from yourself, you choose one day, you flick a switch and you go, from here on out, I demand more from myself. I demand more from other people. I'm going to make better decisions in my life because I'm going to take full responsibility of where I am right now. Every decision I have ever made has brought me to this place right now. Literally, guys, every decision you have ever made in your life, even deciding to flick over on your iPhone when you saw it that Ross was live on Periscope, has brought you to this very place you're at right now. So if you want to keep taking yourself to good places, you just need to keep making good decisions, and you need to make better decisions every time. And the times that you don't make those good decisions, you learn from them. You don't class them as failures. What one thing would you recommend to take massive action to improve your mindset? Ooh, do you know what? Honest to God, the one thing that has really hugely impacted my life is what we're doing tonight. It's reading. It's expanding your mind through education. One thing that I can't stand are people who don't take their education seriously or are cheap on their education. I don't mean you have to have loads of money. It's all relative. You know, there was a time where I could only afford, you know, ebooks that were like $1.99, you know, or something like that, and I would get ebooks on Mindset and I'd download them on my computer. There was times, you know, where I was working for, you know, £3 an hour, and I could just, you know, and I'd have to spend, you know, 4 or 5 hours work to get a book like this. You know, now I'm very, very fortunate. You know, I can spend $2,000 or $3,000 on a course or something like that, to expand my mind. I'm constantly, guys, I promise you, I'm constantly. I wish I could, you know, show you all these books that I get. I mean, these are new ones. Strengths-based leadership. What's that? The Automatic Customer. That's for business and stuff online. We've got Essentialism. We've got Lewis's new book that we're going to be doing for book club in November. School of Greatness. Other books that I've bought recently. This is awesome. Brendan Burchard, The Charged Life. I'm constantly expanding my mind. When you've had negativity, have you struggled to turn to the books? Yeah, you know what? Because sometimes when you're in a negative place, you don't want to get out of bed, or you don't want to, you know. Sometimes actually, you know what? Even when you're in a, I'll tell you, this will happen for you, right? You'll be in a bad place one day, and it will come up on your phone. Ross is live on Periscope doing a mindset thing or a mind hack thing, and you will resent it. I promise you, you will go, you know what, I don't want to be reminded that Ross is going to come on and tell me how happy everybody should be and how positive it should be. Because of course it's easy to be positive and happy when we've got money, our career's going well, everything's going right. The times that are going to make you grow the most and give you the most satisfaction out of life when you get through it, the times that are going to challenge you. It's easy for us to sit here and go do this when things are going right. There will be times where I'm doing a scope and I will get myself in state before a scope. But can you substitute Audible for actually? Yeah, definitely. You absolutely can. If you're not a natural reader, Vishal, and you don't want to do that, then audiobooks are just as good. There's evidence that visual learning, you can sometimes retain the information more if you read it as opposed to if you're just listening to it. But it's just, for you, if it works, it works. But there will be times where I have to do one of these scopes and I have to kind of G you guys up. And I'll get myself in state, and I'll flip my state before I come on and I do this, so I'll get myself in a positive place to do it. But there'll be times where, I don't want to do it, where I'm probably something might have gone wrong in my life, in my personal life, or, the health of my family member or something like that, and I'm going, I don't feel like it tonight. But I will, I know how to trigger a positive state. In Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success, the other day I had a really shit day. I was delighted that you were doing a scope that night. Awesome, well, that's really good. That's really, if you can be inspired by that sometimes, it's great. That's really, really good. I talk about state triggers in my mindset course that's coming out. It's one of the last modules, and we look at state triggers and how we can trigger our state through. You will go through a huge process in Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. It's a really, really long process. It's not a process for people who only want to dabble in mindset or only want to, kind of change their lives. It's something that you've got to commit to. It will take kind of effort, and you've got to fill workbooks in, go through videos, but it will be truly transformational. And we talk about state triggers. It's very hard when you feel no one recognises your talent or you feel ignored. Yeah, it is. No, it absolutely is, Nina. We do something with these state triggers called incantations, okay? And it's a personal power phrase that you have, and that can be really, really powerful for getting you in state before an audition. You have to go through quite a lengthy process before you can get it down to just a phrase that you can say to yourself. But I have various power phrases for different areas of my life that I will kind of use to G myself up before I go into an audition. There's all sorts of things. I developed these over the years, and different things. It might be little phrases you say to yourself. Kind of things like, everything I have, is inside me already, and I have the courage to see it through. And you say this over and over again in your mind. You kind of physically embody it before you're about to go in and do something. Everything I have is already inside me, and I have the courage to see it through. Everything I have is already inside me, I have the courage to see it through. And you can very quickly flip your state. And the more you can embody that physically, the better. So you can't just stand up in the middle of every section at an audition and start doing it. You might want to take yourself off somewhere or do it before you go in. But you'll be able to get yourself to a point where you have emotional mastery, and hopefully I'm going to teach everybody how to do this through the course, where you will have these little phrases, these little physical things that you do, these power moves, power phrases that are going to help you to switch and flip out of that negative state quickly. Because that's the thing, it's not that I don't have negative thoughts and negative states and things like that, I just know how to deal with them, so I can flip myself out of it. And it's not come easily, it's come from literally years and years and years. I started this stuff off the best part of a decade ago. It really started changing my life probably not that long ago, 3 or 4 years ago. But I started dabbling with it nearly a decade ago. So it's not something that instantly you can change, but hopefully what I can do for you guys is speed your process up so it takes you nowhere near a decade. I can give you what's taken me a decade to read about and learn about and educate myself on, and I put it into a course, which, guys, check this out. This is the first unit for Bulletproof Actor, Unstoppable Confidence, Infinite Success. This is unit 1. So you're going to get 5 of these workbooks. It's over 110 pages of mindset that's going to help you rewrite your life, literally rewrite your life. And I take it seriously. There's things in here that I want you to sign and date so that you hold yourself accountable. There's awesome stuff that we go through. This unit 1 is all about external factors that feed that negative wolf inside you. Inside you are, the Navajo Indians say that there's 2 wolves inside us, the positive wolf and the negative wolf. And the one that wins the fight is the one that you choose to feed. And that sums up just everything for me. You have the choice, no matter what you think of your life right now, you have the choice of how you can react to it. This unit takes you all the way through all of those limiting beliefs and those external factors. Lovely little quote from Steve Jobs in this one as well. Let me read you this to finish off. It's been a while, guys. This has been a 50-minute scope. Let me just read you this to finish off, and we'll carry on. Obviously, I'm back on Monday for the next scope. So Steve Jobs says this: It says, when you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is and your life is just to live your life inside the world. Try not to bash into the walls too much. Try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. That's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact. It's life-changing, this, guys, when you think about this. Everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. Once you learn that, you will never be the same again. And that was a massive thing. The reason it's in there is that was a huge moment for me. Steve was a great man. You know, a lot of people say, you know, he's ruthless and this, that, and the other, but he was a fantastic mindset. Awesome guy. So think about that. You can change it. Everything that you're told, you know, if you're just doing what everybody does through life and everyone's told you or always do, you can change it, because those people who have told you to do that are no smarter than you, and don't let them tell you that they are. But that's Unit 1. I'm so excited about this, guys, honestly. I'm going to start filming it all next week. I'm hoping to get it out in time for the end of this month, early November. What I am going to do, though, if that doesn't look like a total possibility, is I'm going to release some content exclusively for you guys, and then what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to launch it, not officially. It's not going to get a public launch. It's just going to be launched to you, and only you, in 2015. And then I'm going to launch it in the new year to everybody, to the public, through quite a big orchestrated launch. But it's going to get a private kind of soft launch just to you guys, because you've supported me so much and you've kind of hung on in there, and I've been promising you for so long. But I don't want to rush it. I don't want to upset you guys by feeling that I'm putting it off, or you're not getting it and you really want it now, and then you're going to get bored if you don't get it. I just want it to be as amazing as it can be, because I know that if you invest in it, it's going to be massively life-changing for you. And I don't want it to just be a little bit life-changing for you, or, you know, think, oh, it could have been better if I had just put that in, if I had just put that in. I have now finished all 5 units. I have put my heart and soul in every single thing I know about confidence, about motivation, about kind of flipping your limiting beliefs and fueling your success cycle to give you the best life you could possibly imagine for the rest of your life, to make the rest of your life the best of your life. So I just want it to be great, and I hope you're kind of with me on that and you understand. The future is bright, Laura. It really, really is. But yeah, I don't want to feel like I'm letting you down by holding off on it and not releasing it. I could have released it weeks ago, guys, and you wouldn't have had a great product. It would have been okay, and it would have done the job to a certain extent. But this is going to be truly life-changing. Time and investment, in the words of Mary Lou. Yeah, exactly. So it's just, you know, it's just a. You know, it's been a big investment for me, but it's so rewarding to see it coming out now. The future is BPA. It is. The future is orange. The future is definitely Bulletproof Actor. And the future, yeah, guys, mindset is the future. So next week we're going to be carrying on talking about this. Monday and Wednesday next week we're back to motivation and mind hacks. I don't know what the topics are going to be. They're going to be completely unrelated to what we're talking about today, probably. We are the future, Laura, absolutely. So please join me for that. If you have enjoyed these scopes as well, then you can watch all the previous scopes on actonthis.tv. It's actonthis.tv. Click on Periscope. You can watch 31 other scopes so far. I think this is number 32 or maybe even 33. So you can go and watch that. You can also, if you're an actor, find loads of amazing resources on actonthis.tv as well. Nina says, see you on the red carpet. Fingers crossed, Nina. We will all be there. We'll all be there one day, definitely, as bulletproof actors in our virtual bulletproof vests. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you're interested in voiceover, guys, as well, like I said at the beginning of the scope, check out VOfocus.com. And if you want an invite so you can get hold of Bulletproof Actor before anybody else, along with everyone else who's live on the scope, then go to bulletproofactor.com. Leave your email address to sign up for your free invite. Your private invite as well. So it's probably not going to go public till the new year. Thank you, Vishal. You have a great weekend as well, man. Thanks so much for turning up. As always, really appreciate you guys. If you're watching the replay and you've come this far, 50 odd minutes in, I really appreciate you as well for sticking around. And we all need to meet up soon. Yeah, we will do, I think, and we should do something. I don't know if we can get that in soon. I've got a chocker schedule, but we're definitely at the launch of Bulletproof Actor, or in the, first thing in January. Let's all meet up, guys, and do a live Periscope. We can all be on it. But awesome. You have a great weekend as well. Archie, thanks so much. Awesomeness tonight. Cheers, Laura. Have a fantastic time over the weekend. Let me know what you're doing. Tweet me. It's at Ross A. Grants. Yeah, let me know what's going on. I can never. I was trying to pre-cue the stop broadcast button on here. I can never do it. There we go. He's done it. Awesome, guys. Keep on doing what you're doing, and join our Facebook group if you're not joined. Facebook.com/groups/Bulletproof Actor.